You're listening to episode 49 of
The Gold Mine Podcast.
As women, we have to invest that time in getting to understand who we are.
Be ambitious, be bold, create the life of your dreams. This is the Gold Mine Podcast with your host, Adrian Dion.
Hey you guys, thanks so much for joining me for another episode of the Gold Mine Podcast. Super excited to be back with you this week. I just celebrated my 31st birthday. I can't believe I'm 30 plus, you guys. That's crazy. But I feel really good. Had a really good day that day. Kind of relaxed. Went to a comedy club. Just kind of chilled out. And we're getting ready to leave for a cruise for the next couple of days. So I'm super excited about that. Just to kind of relax and be on the water. I love the water. Oh my gosh, it's super relaxing and calming. So that's pretty much all that's been going on in my little world. Thanks to everyone who sent out birthday wishes, and it was really, I woke up full of text messages from a lot of people, a lot of different things on social media. It was super heartwarming to know that people think of you. Or, even if you, say, oh, well, they knew it was my birthday from, Facebook or something like that. Still, people taking out the time to write you a message in today's time, that's a lot. So I'm super grateful for all of you who show me love and who shows me love each and every, week when you come on here to take time to listen to what I have to say, to chime in, to write messages. I really, really appreciate it. Today on the show, I want to talk to you guys about reactivity. And when I say reactivity, in the context that I'm going to be talking about today, I mean it as a negative or impulsive reaction to a difficult situation. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody can relate to being in a situation where you emotionally overreacted. You were in the heat of the moment. You say something or you did something to somebody that you really care about, or maybe not. I mean, it could even be a stranger, but you didn't stop to think about the consequences of your actions. I think I read somewhere where someone says you take the approach of you feel, you act, and then you think, which is not always really good to do. I can't tell you how many times I've blasted off a text message to tell somebody how I felt at the moment because my emotions were so high, but by the time they taper off, the damage is already done. And now I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have, really reacted that way. Maybe I should have handled that a different way. I feel a lot of regret. This type of behavior is so prevalent now, especially in social media. There's videos everywhere of celebrities being caught in a bad light where the emotions kind of got the best of them, and it causes an uproar. Poor Kanye. I think the paparazzi loves to catch him just because they know he's gonna act emotionally and they'll have a story, and it's often always followed up with an apology, but before long, another story breaks to somebody else, acting out emotionally in a video, and it just continues to go on and on. Managing our emotions is really tricky business. This is not a skill that we were taught in school, though I really wish it was. I would have much rather have taken a class about managing emotions than geometry, because I hated geometry. But, I think the thing we were taught about reactivity is just to blame it on your emotions. The whole phrase of, I really didn't mean to act that way. My emotions just got the best of me. But this raises a very serious question, and that is, are you in charge of your emotions, or are your emotions in charge of you? Unfortunately, I believe for the vast majority of people, they often get caught up allowing their emotions to dictate their lives. And I've been doing a lot of studying about emotions lately, what their purpose is, just how to master them, a bunch of stuff like that. And I came across a technique that has really been helpful to me. So I wanted to share it with you guys because I really do believe it could be a huge help in stopping negative reactivity. The technique is simply using the acronym STOP, STOP. So whenever you're feeling disturbed, whenever you're feeling upset, somebody has struck a nerve, which really takes self-awareness. Remember, there's always a decision being made before you fly off the handle. You have that moment of, oh, no, she didn't. Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, I'm about to. There's always a decision being made before you actually take action. The S in the acronym, which is the first step, is simply to stop. Now, the goal here is to catch yourself before you do anything else. So if you're driving down the interstate and some idiot cuts you off, and those feelings of like just wanting to run into them, when those feelings come up before you act, tell yourself to stop. That's it. Simply stop. Somebody sends you a crazy text message out of left field and you're getting ready to come up with some stuff to say. Tell yourself to stop. Stop in the moment. The whole purpose of this step is to pause, just to create a moment of mindfulness and awareness before you react. And this does require you to be self-aware. We've talked about self-awareness a lot on this podcast, and it's so important because it'll keep you out of a lot of situations. And that just means being aware of your feelings and your emotions, just acknowledging them, understanding how you feel at all times. The next letter is T, which stands for take a breath. Now, before you guys cut me off, just hear me out. I know people are like, girl, when I'm in an argument, I'm not trying to take a deep breath. But I want to show you the importance of this step. Whenever you're like taking a nice deep breath, whenever you're like taking 2 or 3 deep breaths, what happens in your body is you're actually moving from the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight, flight, or freeze, to your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest. The breath serves to ground you in your body. It grounds you in the moment and it relaxes you a bit. Whenever we're feeling upset, we start to breathe more shallow, and that actually triggers you to fight, flight, or freeze. When you take that deep breath, you actually do the opposite. It has a calming response and you're able to think more clearly. The next letter is O, which stands for observe. And in this step, all you want to ask yourself is, what am I really reacting to right now? And I know for a lot of you guys, you're probably saying, well, I'm reacting to whatever just happened to me or whatever somebody just said or did to me. But I want you to understand this one thing. If you don't get anything else from this episode, I want you to know that fear is always at the core of every situation. And it's only going to be one of these 4 things. You're either going to be afraid that you're not going to get what you want. You're afraid that you're going to lose what you have. You're either afraid of the guilt and shame for something you've done in the past coming to light, or you're angry or worried about the future. So in this step, you should take the time to really identify what you're reacting to. We can literally take something as small as somebody cutting you off on the interstate. Why are you reacting so strongly? Is it because you are afraid that they're going to get in front of you and slow you down from getting to wherever you are trying to go on time? That could be identified with being worried about the future or not getting what you want. Or is it you're really reacting to the fact that they took your place? Is it that you're going to lose what you have? When you really stop and think about it, what you're reacting to can be really, really crazy. It can be really stupid. I think about Kanye sometimes when, the paparazzi come and he asks and he lashes out or he hits somebody. What is he really reacting to? Is it, being seen in a certain light? Is it because he has guilt or shame for something he's done? Or is he afraid that he's going to lose his credibility or his liking, his following? It's always based out of fear. So taking the time in this moment to think about what is it that I'm really reacting to will change everything in the next step. Lastly, the P stands for proceed. And in this step, you're going to proceed with the most effective thing you can do that fits with your values. And it's important to remember your values. A lot of times we do and we act, but then after the fact, when the damage is already done, we want to stop and think, okay, I could have done something differently because this didn't really fit with who I am. I hear that all the time. That's just not really who I am. But their values were nowhere to be found in that moment. And so by using this technique, asking yourself that question, it allows you to create a gap between the feelings that you have and your actions so that your emotions don't hijack you and you act incorrectly. Now, I know you probably think this will all take a long time to process, but it really doesn't. And with practice, you'll get better. You'll get faster and quicker with your response. But it doesn't take a long time. And I'll tell you an instance recently that happened where I actually used this process. And I think it was more so, I didn't even know about this process, but I think it was just more so me knowing that, the way people react to you has nothing to do with you. Here again, it's always based on fear. And I was able to create a gap and act appropriately, regarding my values that I had. My mom and I were in LA. We were in the fashion district and we were looking for little decorations for the wedding, different things like that. And we walked into this shop where this guy was working and was kind of towards closing. I think they may have closed at 5 and we were in there 4:20 or something like that. Anyway, my mom had been talking to one of our family friends who also has a event design business, and so she had wanted some chargers, and we were in there and the guy had chargers, and he had chargers every single color, and he had them, I think they were $2, something like that. And so they were all along the back wall. And we were in there and, we asked the question and he was kind of snappy, but we kind of ignored it, went along to the chargers. And my mom was taking pictures so that she could show the lady the colors and the options. He had a bunch and he came around the corner and saw us taking pictures. Now, I don't know if he was insecure about what he had to offer or I'm not really sure. But he just started yelling don't take pictures of my stuff. And he went on to just be if you're going to act like that, you have to get out of my store. And we were whoa. He just started yelling as if we were stealing or something like that. He just started yelling. And immediately I was just wait. Stop, because this has nothing to do with me, obviously. And so I was okay. I literally just said, okay. And I guess he was expecting a different response from me. And so when I said, okay, he just stood there and was confused. And so then he started yelling you have an attitude. You can get out of my store. And I was no, I don't have an attitude. You said no pictures, right? No pictures. Yeah, but it's the way you're looking. And he just started going I was just okay, cool. Obviously, this has nothing to do with me again. For whatever reason, you're upset right now. Maybe you had a bad day. All of this, was processing in my head. And I'm thinking, I could have reacted in a way because to me, I deserve the right to because he was definitely inappropriate. And I literally was not, we weren't doing anything. My mom was with me, But I just wanted to show you guys that because it always has to do with fear, not for the other person, not for, whatever they did to you, but it's always about you. Always remember, nobody can ever make you feel a certain type of way. Your feelings don't come from what other people did to you. Your feelings come from a thought about what they did. So, when you're reacting, always know that it's always based in fear. It's not about the other person or what they did. Why am I getting mad? Why did that strike a nerve with me? Why am I reacting or having these feelings the way that I am? Know that it's always about you. That day when the guy started yelling and I started getting tense, I had to stop. I had to take a pause and say, like, really, what's going on in this situation? I'm getting upset. Why? What am I reacting to? And at the core of it, if we assess the fear, it was based on me losing what I already had. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, who do you think you are that you're going to talk to me like that? You're not going to talk to me like that. It was a power thing. And I literally had to sit and say, no, he does not dictate who you are. He does not determine your power. And so there's no reason to react in a inappropriate way. This has nothing to do with me. If he even thinks that, oh, I'm a woman and I can talk to her anyway, or, she's a black woman, that's on him. That's his ignorance. And so I don't have to react to what he has going on. Maybe he had a bad day. I don't know. But my morals and my values tell me that he does not dictate anything over here. I have nothing to be fearful of. And so therefore, I can react in a way that is going to be beneficial to me. The most effective thing to do right in that moment was to do what I did, because you have two fools arguing, nothing's going to get done. My fiance was sitting out in the car. And so if it had escalated, he would have come in. It would have just created a whole situation for nothing. And often we find ourselves in those types of situations because we don't take time to pause, to observe what's really happening in the moment, and then proceeding with the most effective thing to do. And I'll also say that it's really risky to have those types of behaviors, not only because they can cause some really bad consequences that you'll regret. How many people are in jail for a moment that they reacted emotionally, and caused things to happen that they regret, and now that one moment has changed their life forever. But not only because of that, but because the response, the way that you're handling the stress, it's being wired into your hard drive. And not only that, those types of behaviors, it causes a domino effect. Energy can never be destroyed, right? It can only be transferred or changed from one form to another. That's the law of conservation of energy. So that is why simply having a bad day is the start of a bad week. And then you go on to having a bad month, which eventually just becomes who you are. That repeated response is now hardwired into you. And that is why anyone or anything traumatic, unfair, or anything that makes you feel bitter, slighted, done wrong, you have to make a conscious decision to let it go, or the energy surrounding that thing will literally become a part of you. You have to break that. I was reading Michelle Obama's book, and she was talking about her grandfather, and she was saying about how one of her grandfathers, she was saying how she knew him to just be an old mean man. And she said when she was talking to her dad about it, she found that, everything comes with context. He, didn't get a job that he wanted or get to go to a school. I can't remember exactly. But because of that bitterness just stayed with him. And of course, there was one moment when something didn't go the way that he wanted to, or he was slighted or done, unfairly. But that became who he was. And it can easily happen to you. You're the person that always flies off the handle. You know why? Because, neurons that fire together, they wire together. You do it once, you do it twice, and then those neurons start to get stronger. And now that's how you react to everything. And now you become this crazy fly off the handle type of person just based off one situation. So it's important to let all of those things go, to make sure that you are handling your emotions correctly when you're in times of stress or in difficult situations. I'll leave you guys with this quote that I read from Viktor Frankl. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But anyway, it says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. I hope you guys really enjoy this episode and can take this practical technique and use it. You can use it in something small, if somebody didn't give you your order right at McDonald's. I hope y'all are still not going to McDonald's, but if somebody didn't get your order right, try this technique. The more you use it, the better you'll get with it. And I hope that it'll just start to break those responses, those bad habits that you have, and also build new ones. Build this process so that in any situation, when you find yourself in a press situation, people will start to know you as a person who, always know how to handle those situations correctly. You always uphold your values and you act appropriately. All right, you guys, if you enjoyed this episode, if you're listening, make sure you take a screenshot, share it with your family, your friends, share it across your social media. Let me know the parts of the episode that you really enjoy, or if you disagree with anything. I would love to know your process for dealing with difficult situations and how you stop yourself from overreacting or allowing your emotions to hijack you. I really look forward to hearing from you guys, and I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.